Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. And today, well, let's just say things are about to get interesting.
Oh yeah, we're diving into the world of DeepSeek.
DeepSeek, right? This Chinese AI firm.
That's the one they've been making a ton of noise lately.
So we've got a mountain of articles and analyses and even some opinions from folks in the know, ready to dig in.
Absolutely. Let's figure out what all the hype is about and see what this shakeup means for the future of AI.
And of course, what it means for all of you listening. So to kick things off, DeepSeek, they kind of came out of nowhere, didn't they?
Yeah, it really seems like it. I mean, they were just founded back in 2023.
2023, that recent. Wow.
Seriously. And they're backed by this Chinese fund, High Flyer. But what's really got people talking is their goal, building general AI.
General AI. Okay, now you have to break that down for me and everyone listening. What exactly are we talking about here?
Well, think of it like this. We've got AI that's amazing at writing or creating images or crunching numbers, right? Specialized stuff.
Right, I get that.
General AI is like the ultimate goal. It's about creating an AI that can do it all.
Whoa, like a real jack-of-all-trades AI, huh?
Exactly. Just like humans can learn and adapt and solve different problems.
Okay, so that's the big dream.
Yeah.
But let's get down to brass tacks. What has DeepSeek actually done that's got everyone freaking out?
Well, their latest move was launching a free conversational AI app. Kind of like ChatGPT.
Oh, really? So we're talking AI that can chat with you.
Yep, and get this, it's getting a lot of buzz because apparently it rivals ChatGPT in how well it performs.
Hold on. So similar to ChatGPT, but free? There's got to be a catch.
Well, that's the thing. The catch is actually what's so fascinating. They managed to develop this app for a fraction of the cost.
Okay, now you've got my attention.
So DeepSeek trained their model on 2,000 Nvidia chips, spent roughly $6 million.
$6 million, not bad.
Right. But here's the kicker. GPT-4 that powers ChatGPT cost OpenAI over $100 million to train.
Whoa. Okay, that's a massive difference. I can see why everyone's calling this DeepSeek's Sputnik moment. It's like a wake-up call for the whole AI world. But how did they manage to be so cost-effective? That's the million-dollar question.
Well, a lot of the articles are pointing to a few key things. They're using something called a mixture of experts model and 8-bit coding.
Mixture of experts.
No.
Sounds fancy.
It basically allows the AI to work more efficiently. Imagine like a team of specialists instead of one person trying to handle everything.
Ah, so divide and conquer, huh?
Exactly. And the 8-bit coding helps compress the information the AI has to process, makes it faster and less resource heavy.
Interesting. So they're challenging that bigger is better idea in AI development.
It seems so. You don't necessarily need mountains of data and computing power to make a powerful AI.
And DeepSeek is proving that point pretty dramatically.
Hmm.
Even the financial markets are taking notice. Nvidia stock took a nosedive after DeepSeek's launch, something like $600 billion gone.
Yeah, it was a huge hit. Almost $600 billion wiped off their market cap in a single day.
Wow, that's a clear sign that DeepSeek is shaking things up. People are starting to question the dominance of these US AI giants.
Exactly. Lamond even suggested that this whole thing points to a potential overvaluation of U.S. AI companies.
So is this a sign that the balance of power is shifting in the AI world?
It's definitely a possibility. And what's really interesting is that DeepSeek is kind of fulfilling OpenAI's original mission, right? The whole open source AI thing.
Making AI accessible to everyone.
Exactly. But DeepSeek is doing it better and cheaper than OpenAI ever did.
That's a pretty bold statement. And speaking of disrupting the status quo, this whole thing really brings Lina Khan's work on antitrust to mind. Remember her warnings about monopolies in the tech world?
Absolutely. Those warnings are looking pretty prophetic right now.
It's like all those U.S. tech giants got so comfortable at the top, they stopped looking over their shoulder.
Maybe they became a bit complacent, too focused on maintaining their dominance instead of pushing the boundaries of innovation.
And now DeepSeek is here to shake things up. So is this the pin that bursts the AI hype bubble? That's the question everyone wants to know.
Right. Was all that hype about AI just hot air? Or is this just the beginning of a new era?
I think we're about to find out. But for everyone listening, think about this. Cheaper, more accessible AI. What does that mean for your life, your work?
Is it a threat, an opportunity, or maybe a bit of both?
That's what we're going to explore as we go deeper into this DeepSeek rabbit hole.
And we'll look at the global impact, too, how this might reshape AI development, not just in China and the U.S., but around the world.
It's going to be a wild ride, folks. So buckle up. Okay, so we're back, and I gotta say, this DeepSeek situation has me thinking.
Oh, yeah. What's on your mind?
It's not just about some fancy new AI tech. This is geopolitics we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Like DeepSeek is directly challenging U.S. dominance in AI.
You're spot on. It really makes you wonder how effective those U.S. restrictions on exporting chips to China really are.
Right, because DeepSeek's success came despite those restrictions.
Yeah.
They're like David taking on Goliath.
It's a pretty good analogy, actually. I mean, they've had to get creative to work around those limitations.
And some folks are saying that this pressure has actually forced DeepSeek to become even more innovative.
Yeah, Martin Clavey over at Next even suggested that DeepSeek is basically a product of these constraints.
So trying to hold them back might have actually pushed them forward. That's kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is, but it also raises the stakes even higher.
Meaning?
Well, Stephen Bartholomeus, he wrote in the Sydney Morning Herald that this whole DeepSeek thing might actually make the U.S. want to tighten those restrictions even more.
Like a technological arms race, almost.
Exactly. Each side trying to outdo the other. That's not a very comforting thought.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But okay, so is it game over for the U.S. in terms of leading the AI race?
I wouldn't say that just yet. I mean, yeah, DeepSeek's success is undeniable, but some experts still believe that the U.S. has a pretty big lead.
So it's not a knockout punch just yet.
Not quite. Remember, the U.S. still has a ton of resources and a really strong AI ecosystem.
So we're still waiting to see how this all plays out. But one thing's for sure, DeepSeek has really shaken things up.
No doubt about it. It's forcing everyone to rethink those assumptions about where AI innovation can actually come from.
Right. Not just a U.S. game anymore.
Exactly. Gary Marcus, he's an AI expert, and he argues that this old idea of one country leading the AI race, that's outdated.
So maybe we're moving toward a more multipolar world, where different countries and companies are all major players.
That's a real possibility. And, you know, this actually supports the argument for OpenAI.
OpenAI, like what France is pushing for.
Exactly. They're hosting that big AI summit soon, remember? And they're big believers in this open approach to AI development.
The idea is that it could lead to more collaboration and innovation, right?
Right, and potentially make AI more affordable and accessible for everyone.
Imagine that AI tools, not just for the big tech companies, but for everyone. Individuals, small businesses, developing countries.
It's a really compelling vision. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There are some who are skeptical about DeepSeek's claims of openness.
Right, they're not exactly giving away all their secrets.
Yeah, Jan LeCun, he's been a big proponent of open source models, but even he's kind of hesitant about DeepSeek.
So what's the issue?
Well, Timnit Gebru, another AI expert, she argued that DeepSeek doesn't fully meet the criteria for true open source.
So it's open, but with some strings attached.
That's one way to put it. But there is that project on Hugging Face called OpenR1. It's aiming to create a truly open version of DeepSeek.
Oh, wow. So they're basically trying to take DeepSeek's work and make it completely open.
That's the idea. It could really push things forward in terms of transparency.
That's pretty exciting. But even with more openness, we can't forget about the potential for bias in AI.
Oh, that's a huge point. NewsGuard, they found that DeepSeek was actually less accurate than some of its Western counterparts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they also said it was kind of prone to reflecting the Chinese government's positions.
So it's a reminder that no matter how impressive the tech is, we got to be critical thinkers.
Absolutely. Always consider the source. And speaking of considering the source, there's another controversy brewing around DeepSeek.
Ooh, what's that?
There are accusations that they've been using data from their rivals. Like, even though it would violate the terms of service agreements.
So maybe DeepSeek isn't the good guys some people are making them out to be?
It's complicated for sure. It highlights the gray areas and all this.
Yeah.
You know, OpenAI is actually facing legal challenges too.
Oh, yeah. What for?
The New York Times is suing them. They claim OpenAI trained their models on the newspaper's data without permission.
Sounds like a big mess.
It is, but I think this whole situation really exposes a flaw in that bigger is better mentality that's dominated AI development.
You mean the idea that you need tons of data and computing power to create a good AI?
Exactly. DeepSeek is proving that you don't need billions of dollars and massive data sets to make something powerful.
So maybe it's not just about brute force anymore. Maybe it's about being smarter and more efficient with the resources you have.
That's the shift we're seeing. And it could have huge implications for everyone. Think about it. Powerful AI tools available to everyone, not just the big players.
It's like democratizing AI, breaking down those barriers.
Exactly. It could lead to a much more inclusive technological landscape. But we got to be realistic too.
Meaning?
Well, there are legitimate concerns about job displacement and the ethical implications of widespread AI adoption.
Right. We can't just ignore those.
Absolutely. It's a balancing act. embracing the potential benefits while being mindful of the risks.
So how do we navigate this?
Through open dialogue and collaboration, we need to have those tough conversations about what kind of future we want to build with AI.
And work together to make sure it benefits everyone.
Exactly. So yeah, DeepSeek has definitely thrown a wrench into things.
Yeah.
Forced us to face some uncomfortable truths about the state of AI.
But it's also sparked some exciting new possibilities and a renewed focus on innovation.
So what's next in this story? Will DeepSeek spark a global shift towards more efficient and accessible AI?
Or will this just escalate the competition for AI dominance? Lots of questions still up in the air.
But before we get too lost in the tech and the politics, let's take a step back.
What do you mean?
Well, we can't forget about the human side of all this.
The human side of AI.
Exactly. We're so focused on the algorithms and the geopolitical maneuvering that we sometimes forget about the people whose lives are being impacted by these developments.
It's really easy to get lost in all the tech talk and the global implications. But you know what we haven't talked about as much?
The people.
The people. The ones actually making all this AI stuff happen.
Right. We can't forget about them.
Yeah.
And, we talked earlier about the hidden labor in AI development. Well, Antonio Casilli's research really dives deep into this, especially in China.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. What was he said again?
Well, he argued that DeepSeek's crazy low costs aren't just from clever coding or, even that alleged data they might have taken. It's also about the role of the government in China.
The government.
Yeah, specifically, they're subsidizing data annotation. That's a big part of China's AI ecosystem.
Data annotation. So that's like labeling data for the AI to learn from, right?
Exactly. And Casilli explains how Chinese AI companies have built these huge data annotation centers, often in cities with a lot of available workers.
So it's almost like a win-win, right?
Yeah.
Jobs for people and data for the AI.
Well, on the surface, yeah. But sociologists Tongyu Wu and Binqing Xie, they pointed out that this could also put downward pressure on wages and working conditions.
Oh, right. So it's not all sunshine and roses.
It's complicated for sure. It highlights the need to think about the ethics and sustainability of AI development, How are these workers being treated? Are they being paid fairly? These are questions we need to ask.
It's a good reminder that there are real people behind all these algorithms, and their well-being is connected to how we develop this technology.
Exactly. And it's interesting to compare China's approach with what Casilli documented in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Like in his book, En attendant le robot, he talked about the reliance on outsourced labor in the global south.
So there are different models emerging, each with its own pros and cons. It's making me wonder, what kind of AI ecosystem do we want to build for the future?
That's the big question, isn't it? Do we prioritize efficiency at all costs? Or do we consider the well-being of the people who are making all of this possible?
It's a tough balance to strike.
Absolutely. But it's a conversation we need to have. So yeah, DeepSeek has really shaken things up, made us rethink some things, but it's also sparked a ton of new possibilities and a renewed focus on innovation.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
From DeepSeek's technology and its global impact to the ethical considerations and the human side of AI, it's a lot to process.
So as we wrap up, where do we go from here? Will DeepSeek be the catalyst for a global shift toward more efficient and accessible AI?
Or will it just escalate the competition for AI dominance?
The future is uncertain, but one thing's for sure. AI is changing the world as we know it.
And it's up to all of us to understand what's happening and to actively shape how this technology develops.
It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
But also an incredible opportunity. So for everyone listening, we'll leave you with this. What role do you want to play in shaping the future of AI? Think about it.
It's a question worth pondering. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.